defending critical national infrastructure against attacks in the digital age. And I want to say a big thank you to the Tech TV network for organizing this event and for inviting me to share my thoughts on this very critical subject. The times in which we live, it's much more critical to talk about cyber protection because the development in technology is growing exponentially. And so what we see in the industry is that attackers are moving almost faster than we are developing or we are ready to respond. Okay? So I work for Ethnos. In Ethnos, what do? We help organizations to manage their risks and help them to defend their assets against our attacks. And we have different processes in the company. We have what we call I think that we are the, correct me if I'm wrong, but you probably won't correct me now because I have the microphone. I think we are the first indigenous company to develop a mobile security, mobile application security solution. Okay, which means if you develop a mobile application, you can now go ahead and scan it on a platform for free, see your vulnerabilities, remediate your vulnerabilities, generate a report for your security assurance, and we have taken one more step to defend those applications so that when users are using it, they cannot manipulate the mobile application. I think we're the only company that have done that locally. And so, and we're offering it for free. And so we have also what we call Quest MS, and what we do there is basically is a SOC where we are monitoring threats that's coming in and out of our client infrastructure, just to ensure that they are protected and if they suffer ransomware, we can quickly help restore them to where they were before the attack happened. And then we can help them to see who's coming into their environment maliciously and help them to remediate in case something happens. And of course, we have another group which we call Apex GRC. Basically, what we do there is to help provide governance, risk, and compliance to help you to comply against best practices, standards, PCI, ISO, and the rest. But today, let's just lay the background for critical infrastructure protection. I ask Wikipedia, what is the definition of national critical infrastructure? And they talk about, it's a term used by government to describe assets that are essential for the functioning of a society. Then they went back down to talk about, it covers key sectors, etc. And then they mentioned something about people and process. Now, I went to check what NCC had to say about critical national infrastructure. And they listed a couple of the next slide, please, so we can see what NCC said, how they describe the critical national infrastructure. And then I highlighted something there, the hospitals, the healthcare, and then I highlighted something there called security services, police, military, civil defense, etc. Now, these are what they listed as part of national critical national infrastructure. Then, what is my perspective about defending critical national infrastructure? Now, I want to say that several experts here today and before now have talked about what nations have to do to protect the national critical infrastructures, okay? And I read what Atcon had to say. I read presentation from NCC. They have all, and then there are opinions from the various media and organizations that are talking about what we need to do. So I'm not going to tell you, repeat what they have done. I'm going to tell you what I consider my perspective. Next slide. Next one. Good. For me, what are the critical factors that need to be taken into consideration in building cyber resilience to protecting national critical infrastructure. Number one, go back to my slide so I can explain my slide. Next, yes. No. The first one, yes. No, go back. Go back. You're moving faster than me, guy. The very next to this. No, yes, next. Thank you, stop here. Until I say, go to the next. Okay, so the first critical ingredients to building cyber resilience are the people. The people are going to be your strongest vulnerabilities. So what kind of people do we appoint in positions of authority? What kind of people are making decisions for us, that make the laws, that take decisions? Are they risk-based people? Do they put risk at the core of the development of business objective or corporate objective? Or do they just copy and paste? What kind of skills do we look out for when we appoint people? What kind of ethical practices do they have exhibited that qualify them or qualifies them to be appointed in place of authority to make decisions that affect us as well as protect critical national infrastructure? If we get the wrong people, we have created vulnerability number one. Next slide. Hold on. What kind of processes, next one is process. What kind of processes do we follow? Do we really have service level agreement with the customers and the people? I'll give you an example. I did a project for a government agency, all right? I won't mention the agency. And I said to them, can you give me an SLA to sign? And they said, what's SLA? And this is a project that was signed by the state government. And I said, SLA is a service level agreement that defines roles and responsibilities. And they don't have one. So I said to them, okay, can we have your IT policy so that we can see where this project will fit into your policy? They didn't have one. And then I said, okay, how do I identify what kind of security thinking do you have if it's not expressed in a documented evidence as a policy? And they didn't have. Then I designed one I gave to them. 2 years down the line, they not signed it. Now, I don't work for government a lot, but I don't know how many of you have gone to process your SIM card registration, because I did one lately, and I was told the NIN server was down. How many of you have had an experience? And I'm asking, what do they mean that NIN server was down? This is a critical national infrastructure. If it's important to us, why should it be down? And I'm told that it's been down for 4 weeks because they are doing an upgrade. Is there not an SLA that defines key performance indicators and assign responsibility to people? What processes do we follow to choose even third-party service providers that help us in protecting our national critical infrastructure? What processes do we follow? So if the processes are faulty, we are going to get wrong result. So no matter how much controls that we implement, no matter how much technology that we put in place, if the processes that we follow are wrong, we're not going to get the right result. So that's fundamental number 2. Number 3, next slide. Accountability. Who are asking the questions and the right questions? So, for example, you're trying to make a call and they said, what they call it, call drop or something like that. In this country, if we are here, they say network. I cannot make a call. You know, you're trying to talk to someone on that side and just not hearing you, and you hear them say network problem. And I'm wondering, so who's asking the questions? Who's held accountable when things go wrong? Who's regulating the security practice? Who's checking and signing out things that we implement to control or to protect critical national infrastructure, for example? Who's looking into those activities and ensure that the right things are being done? And so who's asking, If connectivity is down, for example, who explains to us what is the security component of that system downtime? Or is it just technology failure? What if there was a denial of service? Who tells us that it was a denial of service? How do we know? So when things go wrong, who do we hold responsible and accountable? Who are the people asking the questions? And who is asking those that are asking, have you asked the right questions? So do we really have accountability? Because we can download academic documentation and statistics, but the simple principles that we consider in security, which are building security into the objective of what you do, or is a security an add-on? When you have gone down the line in implementing your technology, you suddenly remember that we have to protect, or you want to wait to react when there's an attack. Do we preempt that attack is going to happen? Because attacks happen all over the world. There's no organization that is immune to attack. The US gets the US probably received the highest attacks all over the world. Okay? Recently, I think it was Pentagon, one young man who didn't supposed to have access to intelligence, access intelligence. But the difference is he did not get away with it. So how are we going to, are we paying attention to regulatory requirements? There are government agencies. I was excited when one of the speakers talked about when you exchange, when you want to pass on another person's telephone number to someone without the approval of the owner of the telephone, you've committed an offense. NDPR, for example, it's a Nigerian government regulatory framework. How many government organizations have passed NDPR audit? And who's asking the questions? Even the agency that designed the NDPR, have they even passed the NDPR audit themselves? Who's asking the questions? Because I've seen violations from them. And who's checking? So if there's no accountability and there are no questions, we will start and fail. And so it is good for us to know how much attack that happens. Okay? It is good for us to know how much investment we're going to make in growing the economy. But as we grow the system and grow the economy and grow technology, we have to also build risk. We have to think about the risk that we face and build required protection in our objective, not as an add-on. So proactivity becomes relevant in addressing the need to defend critical national infrastructure. Thank you.